Doodly doo doo doo. Hello everybody, welcome to Xucaboa 100% Vanilla Baby, episode number 26, 5-Star Oil Industry Limited. As always, I'd like to say thank you, gracias, obrigado to all Xucaboa citizens. This episode will be a demonstration of getting a 5-star oil industry area with limited resources, alright? No unlimited resources turned on. We will deplete our resources that are in the ground. Here is our photo of Xuca, and she's sitting by the garden box we have on our balcony. So before we begin, like I always do, if you're new to this channel, I'm building a city in Roslyn Peninsula. Alright, it's a 100% vanilla game, but I'm trying to do it as realistic and detailed as possible. So in the last episode, we filled in this low density residential area over in that neighborhood of Robin Square, and then put a little bit of stuff over on Mount T-Rex, the elder care, a little bit of other buildings there by the pedestrian bridge connecting across. And so that's all we have right now in this area. Instead of continuing, I'm planning on doing some other things this episode. But let's take a look. Our traffic seems to have dropped considerably. So if we take a look at the usual suspects, everything looks all right. You know, you got the red at the intersections with stoplights, which is normal. But then if you look over here, ay caramba! This is the biggest ay caramba I've seen in a long time. All right, if you follow this one single lane of traffic, it goes to a stop sign. Why is there a stop sign in the middle of my highway? I'm pretty sure when I named the new expressway, the Grottles Expressway, last episode, I deleted a segment of highway and rebuilt it very quickly, just that one segment, and it put in a stop sign. So we will do a time lapse through the night to see our traffic get back up to 88 to 91%. That's kind of the area where I tend to fluctuate recently. So everything's back to normal now, and we're happy. Now, I labeled some areas to do projects in, including Sector Golf over here, if you follow through Sector Charlie. And to do that, I would have to connect highways, if you follow my mouse, through there, because that's going to be an industrial area, right? But I really need to have better industry before I do that. I need a little bit more money. That's going to be a very expensive connection. So before I do that, while we were looking at the traffic, let's alleviate some of this agricultural industry traffic that's generating over here in Farmington. We'll just put in a little slip lane that heads out of the city, just a one-way highway ramp, okay? And then we will connect from the industry area directly to that, so it goes across SKYLINE Boulevard. And that we'll put a stop sign there instead of a stoplight, just to give the boulevard the priority. And we'll see if that does anything. I'm not really thinking it'll do too much, but it's something. It's just an alternate route, so some vehicles will go that way, and that'll take some of the stress off of the Parklow intersection we have. You know what? I'll also add another dirt road here, just going over to the boulevard before the big bridge, the Bruno B Bridge. Okay, and again, I don't expect these to do too much, but it'll just give a few of the vehicles an alternate path to take. And while we put in that dirt road, I'm thinking we'll just add a couple fields. I'm not really gonna worry about how these look or what they're doing, but I figure we might as well, since we got that little bit of extra fertile land right there. And if you look at Farmington, the whole neighborhood right now made a lot of sense when we built it. Okay, it was the outskirts of the city, of the town really. It wasn't even a city yet. But now in the future, it's going to be kind of right in the middle of our urban core. And so I think we might relocate it elsewhere in a place that makes sense. There are other fertile land areas on the map. So instead of having that right there, which will soon be a pretty important area, maybe we'll use one of these fertile land areas instead. But not in this episode. In this episode, we're going to connect to this oil patch that is in this corner. When I built the system interchange, I kind of trapped this little corner full of oil. All right, there's no way to get in or out of it, and it's otherwise going to be unused. So let's use it. Let's get this oil out of here, and by leveling up our oil industry to 5 stars, that will unlock some unique factories and other things. And also we can maybe turn a little bit of a profit. So I'm just going to do a tiny bit of step terrain work here. You see I make steps. If you've seen my other episodes, you know that that's a great way to work your way up a hill. But at the end of the day here, I'm not too worried about how this looks, all right? Because this area is going to be depleted, and so everything I do here is temporary. If you don't have unlimited oil and ore mod on, that's a vanilla mod, it comes with the game. It's one of the few vanilla mods that you can do. I think that's the best mod to turn on, all right? I don't have it on right now because I'm playing a 100% vanilla, so no mods at all. But I really don't like that the things deplete, and they deplete very, very quickly, right? It disappears from the map as soon as you start extracting from the ground. So what I'm gonna do, since I've decided in this series to use absolutely no mods, is we will extract it all just to get it out of the way, make a little bit of money and unlock our 5-star industry, and then we'll move on, okay? So here I'm just putting in some roads, I guess, to access this area. It's going to be a loop. It's going to be kind of weird, but it's going to work. Okay, I'm just doing a little bit of connection here to the off, and if you using the system interchange that I put in, you can then circle around and get back towards that roundabout by going off here. Okay, and then from the roundabout, what we're going to do is we're going to make a ramp that just goes right down to it. I'm using the 6-lane boulevard. I could have used the 3-lane highway because that would have tied in, you know, mathematically with the lanes quite nicely, but you can't zone the tiles there, and I might want to use them. So I'm giving myself that option. It really doesn't matter for what I'm doing. Either would work. It's just what I'm doing. So now I'm painting the industry area. I'm going to cover this whole kind of section with the industry area. Right now it's called Kent Industrial Estate. And let's put a tree road right there, a simple tree road, so that way we can have some residents when the demand bars start changing. And we're going to create our own little infrastructure section here. I'm putting in my own pipes and water. I got the eco outlet that's going to flow right into the river, but that has 0 pollution. That's the only non-polluting wastewater treatment that you can get, oddly enough. So we'll use that. We'll put in some windmills. This way I don't have to drag pipes and power lines across the entire map. And we'll place down our industry main building, our oil industry main building, over there where there's no oil. Okay, now we're going to just make sure we have some power into the oil area so we can start connecting. Now if we look at what we have the small oil pump here. Okay, and it has 18 workplaces, it has some pollution, it costs $8,000. Those numbers can be kind of hard to figure out what's the most efficient, right? We see what we need to level up. So let's look at the Skylines Wikipedia. Here's the City Skylines Vanilla Facebook group. If you haven't ever checked that out, be sure to, because it's a really great resource. But also another great resource is the skylines.paradoxwikis.com. And so we'll look at all the different items here for oil industry extractors. And if you look at the small oil pump, it's only 2 cells big, but it has 18 workplaces, or 9 jobs per cell, and it has the best production units per dollar and units per cell out of all the other extractors. It's simply the best. Okay, if you aren't sure how to do the math real quick, when you look at that site, if it's in bold, it's the biggest number, and if it's in italics, it's the smallest number. So we'll just put in 10 right now. 10 small pumps. They're tiny, right? They're very tiny. We'll put in maybe 2 storage facilities, just because I think that might help. I don't even think it's necessary, really, but we'll have those just in case. It'll give the trucks somewhere to go to bring the product if they run out. So now we're going to time lapse. Okay, I'm going to try to keep the camera as still as possible, and we'll just time lapse until we resource up and get enough workers. So here we have our 500 produced resources, which is what we need, and we just need about 15 more workers to get to level 2. And here we go. Level 2, we've unlocked some new buildings, but the only one I'm going to be interested in is the Oil Industry Workers Barracks, because that provides an efficiency bonus. So if we take a look at that, you see it adds 5% up to the maximum of 100% efficiency. Okay, and it also has a lot of jobs. and we need jobs as much as we need resources. Okay, so I'm just gonna plant a lot. Now they're a bit expensive. I probably don't have to do this. This is really just a way to get a lot of workers. More than the efficiency almost, because at the end of the day, I'm just gonna extract everything anyway. I don't need to be super efficient in that regard, but it will help. It will definitely help, right? We'll zone a little bit of residential on our one street because our industry bar is dropping, and we will make this neighborhood have the schools out policy. So citizens prefer to work instead of go to school. And hopefully that'll send some workers in this direction. We need 350 to get to the next level. Right, our efficiency right now is at 46%. Let's add a couple more and see what happens. All right, I've got 10 of them with a 56% efficiency bonus. Let's add 12, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Got a little bit of noise pollution coming off of these, so maybe I shouldn't have gone so close to the residential, but that's okay. We'll add number 18 right there, and we're at 98% efficiency. So that's fine. And now already, if you look at the small pumps, we've got them running out of resources, okay? I'm gonna put in a recycling center there just because that's a service that's gonna maybe cause problems if I don't have. But once they start running out of resources, I'm just gonna leapfrog them one after another to take the next available spot, okay? They are drinking the milkshake. They are sucking up that oil from the ground, and they're just gonna keep going. You see how fast it depletes. It's like there's no point to not playing with the unlimited oil and ore mod, because then you can actually build a site that looks cool. Here, they don't even last a few minutes before it's sucked all the oil out. Really kind of frustrating, but that's okay. We're gonna take advantage of that to level up and play a 100% vanilla game. Just gonna leapfrog our things. Here we've reached level 3. So you see we've got the large oil pump. You'd think that would be more efficient, but it's not. Okay, it's bigger, it's harder to place, and it doesn't have as many jobs or take as much oil for the amount of zonable cells that it takes up, right? The amount of cells on the map that it uses. It's much less efficient than just having 4 of the small pumps. Okay, right now I'm going to plant down some, just one building each, one that makes, that processes, these are processor buildings. So this processes oil into petroleum, and the other one processes oil into plastics, the 2 resources that you can create using oil. So we'll do that, just so that gets us a little bit more money. Not too focused on their efficiency. I just want to have, you see those bars fill up with petroleum and plastic. Get us a little bit more cash coming in. Okay, I'm spending a lot of money every time I place down a new building, so I'm going to try not to do that any more than I have to. Okay, I'm back over $1 million now, but I started at 1.3, so that's something to keep in mind. Already, I've worked all the way down the river with these oil wells, these tiny little pumps, and it is really just sucking every last drop of oil out of this map that I can. And now here we go, 4,500 produced resources, and we have reached level 4. None of the stuff that comes with it though matters to us. We're not going to use any of that. I need a few more jobs, but I have enough workplaces for that. To maximize getting every piece of oil out of the ground, every drop of oil, we're just going to add another road or 2. And this way we can reach the spots in the middle. Here I'm putting a warehouse that's going to hold plastics, because you see there's the not enough buyers little icon over those 3 processor buildings, and I'm not too worried about that right now, but I figured maybe if I put a warehouse, they'll fill that with plastics or something, and then that might solve the problem. It doesn't really matter for what we're trying to do. It was just something that I had in my head. We're going to add another street right here with some high density residential. This is just cheesing, all right? None of this is going to stay. This is just to get some workers in the area. You see our residential bar has gone way up, and we want them not to go to college. We want them to work at the oil fields, right? I'm an oilman, you see? This is my son and partner, HW. That's what everyone over there is going to be saying. So, I'm going to keep doing this whole strategy that I've been doing until I get all the way to the highway. I'm going to leapfrog my wells until they suck up every last drop of oil. And you see they have that little icon? That means that there's no more resource there anymore, okay? If I left them, they would actually start importing oil to that well, which makes no sense, and it just causes a nightmare of traffic, so you don't want to do that. Processors, if they import oil, that's one thing, but having your extractors, which pull oil out of the ground, import oil from somewhere else is foolish. Do not let that happen. I'm just going to connect a road over here to the other side, bring some power over here. This is the next little piece of oil. Almost all the oil is gone from that original corner we did on that side of the highway. And we're going to start moving these over to this side of the highway. And as they dry out, we will just keep moving them. Just little bit by little bit. And this last one takes a long time because if you look, I need 13,500 produced resources, which is more than double. I think it's almost triple. It is triple the last requirement. For level 4, you need 3 times the amount of resources produced to get to level 5 than you did to level 4. From 4,500 to 13,500. It's, to be honest, it's not possible with this one oil field. All right, we would have to go to an import-based processing thing to produce the rest of those resources. We still lack like 4,000 pieces of oil, but on this map we have more oil over in this direction, and so we can just paint our same 4-star district, snake it over to this new area. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a very basic, I was going to say crude, but you might think that's an oil pun, put in this very basic diamond interchange, put a 2-lane highway, and then use industrial roads, and I'm just going to frame out this whole oil area. And you can tell it's the oil from the top because it has that different color ground cover. Okay, so we're putting down all the stuff that we had over on that side. I'm just going to move it over. Here I am going to drag a power line because I might as well, but I'll delete all these pipes that we used because we're not going to use this area anymore. We'll drag our pipes over to this side, and then we will start the cumbersome process of relocating every tiny oil well. And this time lapse is going to be a little bit hard to follow because I'm moving the camera around so much, but that's all I'm doing is I'm just moving each pump from the one side of the map to the other side of the map. And the same for most of the buildings. I'm going to leave some of the barracks over in that area because there's no reason to move them. As long as I keep that zone painted in both sides, it'll be alright. So now here we go. Let's turn on the laps and start sucking up that oil, right? Drinking the milkshake. We've definitely got enough workers. We just need about 3,000 produced resources to move up. So already I'm starting to suck this place dry. We're going to get some pumps moved over. Here it's less of a leapfrog like it was by the river, but it's still the same thing, right? When one is dry, we just move it to somewhere where there's oil. And you can see when you move it how much it'll pump, but don't worry if it's not the maximum, which is 4,800 units. Which also, by the way, that number doesn't even make sense to me because that would mean that one pump should produce enough to reach level 4 in a week if it produces 4,800 units per week. So I don't know what those units are, but they're not the same ones as you need to level up. But now here we go. We've reached level 5, our final level. We've unlocked some cool things, and now we can start thinking about how we are going to dismantle this area, because I don't want the oil industry over here. I have a feeling that this is going to be a pretty rural area. I definitely don't want a lot of pollution. on this side of the highway, and the oil industry stuff is very polluting. So we will just clear everything out. We'll move some stuff over here. Probably shouldn't have deleted those windmills, but that's all right. They're relatively cheap. We'll delete all the piping that we put. Get rid of everything we don't want to spend money on. We'll zone that area and just move our 5-star industry over to this side. Now this is a very important concept. Do not delete your main building and do not delete your industry painted area, because if you do, you will lose your 5-star industry. All right, all the buildings will still be unlocked, but you will no longer have that 5-star industry area. So it's better just to paint and snake from place to place than have to restart over and do it like that. So what we're gonna do here, we're just gonna place the naphtha cracker plant, which creates, it actually doesn't work the way it does in real life, but here it creates plastic. So we'll have it create plastic, and we'll put a barracks right there. And this way it'll just be a very small import-based processing facility, but it'll be 5 stars, so it has a lot of efficiency in that regard. And we can expand that in the future when we are ready, okay? For right now, I'm not going to make this into something, but in the near future, we definitely can. So we'll save this game, episode 26. Oil, no, let's call this milkshake. All right, I drink your milkshake. So we drank up a lot of milkshake in this episode, and we've got some options for what we want to do in the next episode too. I think we might do the same thing with the mineral in that sector Foxtrot. Okay, but we'll see. I think I might actually do that right after this episode. So we'll head to the cinematics right now, just take a quick look at the city, which I have not been looking at. I did turn off disasters for this because I'm doing a lot of time-lapse where I'm staring directly at one part of the city and nothing else. So just so you know, I'm not too worried about any disasters. The city just has to continue to work. Things can't burn down or have death waves that are out of control or anything like that. And it looks like everything is good. Everything is functioning quite nicely. So again, if you're new to the channel, welcome. This is my 100% vanilla series. I am a person who plays with mods, and I've decided not to do that in this map. I'm going to do it 100% vanilla, and in many ways, I'm having more fun with this than I ever did with mods, because I'm really trying to find the best creative solution to a lot of vanilla problems and create beautifully detailed scenes and different neighborhood vibes with just vanilla assets and props, which, let's be honest, are quite limited compared to what you can find in the Steam Workshop. All right, I am playing on PC. I do have the Steam Workshop, and before I did this map, I played with about 60 mods and about 7,500 custom assets. All right, but that can be overwhelming sometimes too, so I'm happy to do vanilla. Thank you for watching Xucaboa 100% Vanilla Baby, episode number 26 with the 5-star oil industry limited, and I will see you next time.